What is going on, everybody, down here? And it's time to take a look at Commander Display expected values again. The last time we did this was right before Christmas. And I want to walk through it again because a lot has changed in the market and things have dried up from distribution. And the expected value of the singles in a lot of these has gone absolutely parabolic. So the first thing I want to do is this is our expected value tracker. Um, I own it, uh, own the API, obviously. If you're interested, you can go to ev.anontcg.com, sign in with Discord. You do need a WAP membership, but it's a 3-day free trial on this. So you log in through here. I want to walk through what I set up because this is really the source data for everything I have. So go ahead to pre-constructed decks. And here you can see I have each one of these set up. You can click a new view. So let's start with Ixalan. And I'll go through a couple of these in the EV tracker, and then we'll go directly to the Tark here. And then we'll go to the Excel document, and we can cut this out. But this is a source data. So let's look at Tark here first. This is within a week of drying up and being out of stock every distribution. So if we look at the summary here, this pulls all 5 decks. This is the current sealed price. Now, when the reprint hit, I was able to buy these somewhere in the 136 to 138 range. I believe the displays themselves can still be had for about 160 to 165 on TCG Player. But the singles, market's 269, low list is 231. And then just the Card Kingdom buy list alone is $144 on something that you're paying $165 for, and it gives you the rest of the cards. This is 59% of the cards. So here we have the sealed price, the singles at market, the singles at low list. And you can see here, the price of this is inflated. The EV is actually less than the price of the deck. Same here. But then you get to the Jeskai Striker, 1.5, blah, blah, blah. And then, the CSP in these, the collector sample pack, they're $3 each. They're really, really crappy for Tark here. Sometimes they sell, sometimes they don't, but you get an extra $15 from there. I want to touch on Duskmourn real quick because this thing has gone absolutely through the roof. So the sealed, now this is if you bought the individual decks separately. If you bought the sealed display, you're looking at paying about $195 right now. And then you have the singles, $284 at market, $229 at low list. But back in August, when these reprinted, these were $107 to $111 from distribution. And I'm pretty sure they were selling for a couple days. Forge and Fire Stomping Grounds had them somewhere in the 110, 115 range. Or I should say 115, 120 range. I'm not sure if they went that low on this one. But those are the time to buy these. And you can see, with the singles, even at low list at 229, you bought these back in August. We're basically 6 months in the future, and you doubled your money if you're selling singles. If you're selling sealed, you'll be at the point where you can double your money probably in the next month. So let's go to the Excel sheet because here I have everything I graded for you, and along with the 5 Magic the Gathering distributors and what their inventory status looks like. So Ixalan, everybody's out of stock. Now, this approximate price is the distribution price in the last reprint. EV at low list is 249. CSP 466 for Ixalan. So your EV is 2.24 times. It's absolutely through the roof right now. Duskmourn 2.26, 229. Again, this is based on buying them at release or at reprint, not necessarily buying them on the open market today. If you go to the EV tracker, you can look and see what it is based on the price today. But it's quite good. Bloom Barrel, $167. This one surprised me. Now, the CSP being $884, and for these, that's pretty damn good. I mean, you're talking $35, $36 just from the CSPs on something that you can still buy these for $130. In fact, Forge and Fire might have them at $120 still. Now, Bloom Barrel is out of stock at Southern, which is shocking because a month ago they had 5 figures, a month and a half. And GTS, they're out of stock. Magazine Exchange still has them. PhD has a ton, and Alliance has them in every single warehouse. Fallout, this has been out of stock. I'm actually surprised that the EV of these isn't greater. And I know the price of these has gone through the roof. There's no reprint of these scheduled anytime soon, which is a little interesting, but I would imagine we'll probably get some in Q2, Q3. It's going to be interesting here in Q1 because WotC keeps coming out with these random, almost feels like desperation secret layers to try to get revenue on the books. And this is their low quarter. Should be their layup. So I'm a little confused with what they're going to do reprint wise, because Edge of Eternities, they pushed the first piece of that into Q4 because they needed revenue to hit their quarter. I think they're spooked with Turtles not selling well on Amazon, where they're trying to backfill that. So I've heard Lord of the Rings Commander is supposed to ship in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I've only heard that from one distributor. I haven't heard that from anybody else. But then we should have Foundations, and Foundations play Karlov. Commander, Karlov and Lord of the Rings should theoretically ship at the same time. And then Lord of the Rings set. I would imagine Wild Set, Ixalan set are probably going to push out until April. You can see here, Bloomburrow Play was initially scheduled for March, but given the fact that they needed a massive windfall, and that would have been probably the largest print run of any of these, they took the parachute, if you will. So Lord of the Rings, EV, $300. These have gone absolutely nuts. CSP at $11. MH3 is now sold out everywhere. So for the longest time, these were in distribution. And about a month ago, everybody sold out. Magazine Exchange was kind of the last man standing. And they either sold out or they took them off the market in the last week or so. So these are now officially out of stock. And the EV for these was around $200 forever, which was really, really bad. And the singles didn't sell, but it looks like things are starting to pick up. Doctor Who, I believe PhD had a handful of these listed at 175. That was when I looked at a little bit ago. At $296 EV on these, and these singles fly. I would imagine we're probably going to get a reprint of these again in Q2 or Q3. They're at the point where the numbers are so high in quarters reprinting Commander decks. It's a lot of effort, and it doesn't really move the needle that much, which is pretty fascinating. Lagging here. Karlov, $299 on these, which is absolutely crazy. Only $3 on the CSP, but we need these coming out. Aether Drift, everybody has these. 162, Edge of Eternities, 160. Everybody has these as well. Tarkir, this is going to be the next one to skyrocket. So Magazine Exchange had these last week. They're now showing out of stock. I'm assuming they pulled them down off the market. But GTS is sold out. Southern sold out. Alliance is sold out. PhD has them in 3 warehouses. 2 warehouses are sold out. I would imagine in the next week or so, these are going to be completely out of stock. We already have the EV of these at $231. Again, the CSP on these are pretty crappy, but it's only a matter of time before this is back at $300, and the displays themselves are going to be pushing over $200 here, probably in the next month or so. And then moving on to Final Fantasy, we can just copy paste this one here. Guess I have to enable editing, but that'll kick me off. So Final Fantasy, it's trying up at GTS, it's trying up at Alliance. Southern still has it. Magazine Exchange still has it, and PhD still has it. So $197 of EV, not great. And the price on these has gone down. These can be had right around $150 to $155, depending on distributor. What's going to be interesting is when they finally dry up, and I think PhD still has like 7,000 of these, is how long is it going to take for everything to work through the market and for these to start moving again? Because there were so many of these. I hate to say it, but there was north of 100,000 of these that hit the market. in 3 different waves, and nobody knew there were that many coming. They desperately needed the revenue in Q4, so they just absolutely hammered it. So the decks are moving, the displays are moving, the individual decks are moving, the singles are moving. Well, there's just a ton that needs to work through here. Final Fantasy collectors, EVs at $793, $10 on the CSP. So you're $793 plus 40. So call it $830 for round numbers, off $525, which is probably $550 now on the market. And again, I price this when at market because distribution doesn't have any anymore. But the Final Fantasy, the collector commanders, they're starting to dry up. The big sellers on eBay are running out. There's nothing listed anymore with a 4 handle. Everything's starting in the mid 5s. And the Surge foils are selling about a copy a day. You know, they're not on fire, but they're also not stagnant. So, you know, if 30 decks worth of Surge foils are selling a day, you know, you're probably burning through these at a couple hundred a month. So this is a slow one to dry up. It's been a toxic asset for a while, but I could see these being at $700-800 by year end, just because everything's starting to dry up. So it's certainly worth looking at. But anyway, getting back to the EV calculator, you know, this is our tool. This is our engine. This is what I use to make all of my decisions if I'm going to buy this stuff, and I'm going to break it down. Generally speaking, there's not a whole heck of a lot worth breaking down, especially in this market, because a lot of your sealed product is inflated because it does have a good amount of demand. So, and if you look here, you're 70 times 70, so you're 142. Low list is $111, which is below distro cost. So selling singles on these, I'm actually shocked with how much these singles have absolutely gotten annihilated. Because when these were announced, the EV of these was like $600 for the singles, and it seems like ever since Spider-Man, I should say Final Fantasy, where the singles were really the play as opposed to selling sealed, everybody seems to have shifted, meaning the big stores, to breaking a lot of play boxes, a lot of commander displays, obviously not commander for Spider-Man and Avatar, but even collector boxes. There's so many singles on the market for those 2 sets compared to prior sets. And then with Lorwyn, same deal. So that play is kind of dead for now. So it's just going to take a little while to recalibrate the market. So anyway, guys, hopefully this is useful. Also with the EV subscription, you get access to pre-sales of reprint. So I got about 600 Bloomburrow play boxes. I sold them for $129.99 if you bought them, you know, the week or 2 before they came from distro. So, you know, we're going to do the same with Foundations. We're doing the same with Lord of the Rings. Again, this is all presuming we get enough product. We're going to do the same with Wilds. We're going to do the same with Foundations. We have Ixalan set coming up. And I think that's it. We have Lord of the Rings Commander and then Karlov Commander coming as well. So if you sub for this, you also get access to that. So, and as of now, I haven't put limits on it because nobody's been a total pig. You know, if it gets too big, I may have to put a couple case limit on it, but it's not like it's 1 box per month or anything like that. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a good night.